everybody, welcome. I'm Chef Rob. Fall is here and we are going to start using apples and pumpkin and sweet potatoes and spaghetti squash, acorn squash. So look for all my different YouTube videos and on Facebook and Zoom at all the different public libraries. So first we are going to make these delicious salmon and Fuji apple burgers. Okay, if you ever had a salmon burger, excellent taste. So please watch how I do this. This recipe will make 2 nice size salmon burgers, and you can always double the recipe if you would like. Okay, so what we're going to first do is get some of our liquid ingredients into this pan right here. I'm just putting it in a shallow pan so this way the camera can really see it in it. You can use whatever pot you would like. I'm using some apple cider. I am going to put in about 1/2 of a cup. Perfect. And just dump that right into here. And now I want about 1.5 tablespoons of the apple cider vinegar. Okay, so if you're going to do it by eye, just make sure you don't put too much. Okay, it's about 1.5 tablespoons. Put that in there. I'm going to add a little bit of kosher salt and a little black pepper, just a pinch of each. And some freshly ground black pepper. There's a big difference using the freshly ground black pepper, so try to use this whenever you can. And now some shallot. I'm just going to cut this shallot up, and I'm going to cut it very small. Okay, just putting on some gloves here. This way I don't get that onion smell into my hands. If you do it without gloves, always have a lemon on the side here, because that way it will help take out some of that onion scent. Same with when you're dealing with fish, and I will be dealing with fish soon. I will be dealing with salmon. So I am using 1 shallot, and I'm just dicing this up really small. And what I am going to do is I am going to bring this liquid to a boil, and I'm going to reduce it for about 8 minutes until it just about evaporates, and I just have one really strong flavor that we can mix this in with the salmon apple burgers. Okay. And now some curry powder. You want about 1 teaspoon of it. Some people are not curry fans, but if you're not, a little less, or you could always just leave it out. Okay. Now I'm going to take some apple, just going to peel the apple. I need 1 apple, but this is kind of a smaller apple. I'm using a Fuji apple. So if they're a little smaller, you can maybe go with 1.5 apples on this. Now that the Fuji apples are peeled, we're going to grate them. Remember, if it is 1 medium to large one, you only need the 1, okay? I just happen to have very small apples right here. Just grating these on the side. You don't want to get the little seeds, okay, or the core in there. I always find the Fuji apple to be really delicious in this. Honeycrisp would also be a nice choice as well. Okay, that should be enough. You can always just kind of tap this off. Get that off right there. And now let's put this apple right in this mixture right here. And I'm just going to stir this and just let that cook. Let it get to that boil, and then just reduce it down to all that liquid evaporates, and it's a nice strong flavor in there. I can really smell the shallot and the apple and the curry. Really a nice scent going through. Again, you gotta be a curry fan if you like this, okay? But with the apple, it's nice, offsets each other really nicely. Okay, it's time to put in some of the salmon fillet. You can use about 1/2 pound of the salmon fillet. I would say you can go 1/2 pound to maybe a little bit better, almost to the 3/4. I'm going to leave a little part on the side. I'm just going to take my food processor off. I'm just going to give it a little rough chop, so that way the blade doesn't have to kind of fight with the salmon, which it shouldn't. But you almost want to pulse this until it's almost like a ground beef or something like that. Okay, so let's put that lid on right now. And pulsing it means turning it on off, okay, until it is really brown. Okay, that's good. And if you could see in here, okay, it's almost kind of pasty like right now. Okay, with the ground salmon now, I'm just going to chop up the remaining pieces of salmon that I have right here. And now I'm going to add it in with the ground salmon, and I'm just going to pulse it just a couple times because I want a few nice pieces of salmon to be inside. Okay, that is perfect, just like that. Let me add that to my bowl, and then we are going to add some panko and some mayonnaise. The panko, we're going to add a 1/4 cup. Panko is made of crustless white bread, but it will really hold up to give it a nice crispness if you're doing fried chicken, coating a salmon fillet, veggies, really good. Okay, that is good. And now let me put in a 1/4 cup of the panko. These are the seasoned ones. If you don't have the panko, try to buy them because they are really, really good. Perfect for this dish. Gonna add that in here. And now 1 tablespoon of the mayonnaise. Use a good quality mayonnaise, whether it's a Hellmann's or Duke's. Again, 1 tablespoon. And now let's just take a spatula, just kind of mix this up really well. And then we're just going to leave this on the side. You can put it in the refrigerator. And this way it is ready for when our wet ingredients are all evaporated and have cooled. So you do want them to cool before you add it to the salmon. Otherwise it will start kind of cooking the salmon, and you don't want that. So you can kind of get a feeling of what it should look like. You can almost pack this right now as a crab cake, but you do want to get that curry and apple in there soon. Let's put this in the refrigerator. So our liquid is all evaporated out of this pan right here. As you can see, I'm just going to put in a little bit of fresh cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, use a little bit of the Italian flat leaf parsley. Okay, make sure it is nice and clean, that you wash it really well. Chop it really small. And then we are just going to add it to that mix and then cool it off before we make our salmon burgers. So I'm just going to mix this in just like this. Okay, look at that. There's a lot of flavor in there with the apple, the curry, Italian parsley, really good. And then apple cider as well. Okay, let's get that nice and chilled. Okay, these are nice and chilled right now. Let's add all that flavor into our salmon that is pureed, and it has some panko in there and some mayonnaise. So let's mix this in really, really well. If you put a little sauce on here, you can use a little tartar sauce, a little remoulade, but really doesn't need a lot of flavor. You can put like a little lime, mayonnaise, and caper sauce. That would be fine too. So what you're going to do is form these into about 2 patties. These are pretty big. So if you like a big burger, you can do it about this big. I'm actually going to make this into 3. I think I can get 3 out of this one here. So something like that, about a 1/2 inch thick. I'm going to do the same with this one here. And then we're going to put some butter into the pan, just a couple tablespoons. And that will be so we can brown these really, really nicely. You can make these into little sliders. If you're doing sliders, you could probably get close to 10 out of this recipe. How's that look? Okay, let's put the butter in. About a tablespoon or two at the most. Perfect. Let that kind of melt around really good. And then we'll put our salmon burgers in. And we're going to brown them for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. So we're going to get a nice and golden color on each side. And then we're going to put them on a nice potato roll. You could put a little bit of arugula, little spring mix, spinach leaves, whatever you would like as your lettuce. And then we're going to serve some chips with it as well. Okay, put them towards the center of the pan. That's where you get your more direct heat. Okay, don't overcrowd the pan. You can always make another batch. But this with some chips or salad would be perfect. Let them brown 2 to 3 minutes on one side and then we'll flip them over. These are starting to look like they have a nice golden crust on the bottom. Sometimes when you put your spatula under there, you can just tell that it's nice and golden. Okay. Perfect. Oh, these are going to be so good. Okay, these salmon burgers are ready. Nice and golden brown. Just make sure they get a nice crisp coating on the outside of them. Okay, I am just going to take these beautiful potato rolls and put them right across here. I have some chips on here. And now let's put these salmon burgers right on top. Again, you could see they're a nice hearty burger, so if you like it smaller, you certainly could do it smaller. And any type of sauce you would like on it would be great. So let's put a little bit of some parsley on here just to make it festive. Nice homemade fresh coleslaw would go good with this. Since it's fall, put a little shredded apple into the coleslaw as well. I hope you make these at home and hope you enjoy these classes. Stay well.